Some love stories begin with a glance across a crowded room. Others start with a simple conversation over coffee. But Maya Johnson's love story? It began with a crashed computer server at 2 in the morning and would lead her into a battle she never saw coming. This is the true story of Maya and Daniel. A love that crossed cultures, challenged traditions, and forced them both to ask the hardest question of all. How much are you willing to sacrifice for love? Forbidden hearts. She fell for her Korean coworker. His mother refused to meet her. Maya Johnson had always been a dreamer. At 28, she'd climbed from junior marketing associate to marketing manager at TechVista, one of Seattle's fastest-growing startups. She had her career together, her own apartment in Capitol Hill, and a life she'd built from scratch after moving from Atlanta 3 years earlier. But on this particular Tuesday night in October, none of that success mattered. Her entire marketing campaign was due to launch in 6 hours, and her computer had just frozen with all her files locked inside. No, no, no. Please don't do this to me right now. It was 11 p.m. The office was nearly empty, except for one person, Daniel Park, the quiet software engineer who always seemed to be there, no matter what hour Maya stayed late. She'd noticed him before. How could she not? Those gentle eyes that crinkled when he smiled. The way he always held the elevator door without being asked. The thoughtful way he listened when people spoke. But they'd never really talked. Different departments, different worlds. Until tonight. Excuse me? Daniel, right? I'm really sorry to bother you this late, but I'm having a complete tech meltdown, and you're literally the only person here who might be able to help me. Maya from marketing, right? What's going on? She was surprised he knew her name. My entire presentation is locked in a file that won't open, and it launches tomorrow morning. I've been working on this campaign for 3 months, and I'm pretty sure I'm about to have a panic attack. Okay, let's take a look. Bring your laptop over here. We'll figure it out. For the next 2 hours, Daniel worked on her computer while Maya sat beside him, watching his fingers fly across the keyboard. They talked while he worked. First about the file recovery, then about work, then about everything else. So you've been in Seattle for how long? About 18 years. My family moved here when I was 12. My dad got a job opportunity and my mom, well, she followed because that's what she felt she had to do. What about you? Atlanta born and raised. Moved here 3 years ago for the job. My family thought I was crazy leaving the South, but I wanted something different. Something that was just mine, you know? I do know. That feeling of wanting to build your own path. At 1:30 a.m., Daniel recovered every single file. Oh my God. Daniel, you just saved my entire career. How can I ever thank you? Well, there's a coffee shop that opens at 6 a.m., 2 blocks from here. We could grab breakfast? Unless you need to sleep. Sleep is overrated when you've just met your hero. 6 a.m. coffee sounds perfect. That coffee turned into breakfast. Breakfast turned into walking Maya home as the sun rose over Seattle. And walking her home turned into Daniel asking for her number. I know this might be forward, but could I take you to dinner this week? Like an actual dinner, not just emergency tech support. I thought you'd never ask. Maya went home that morning feeling something she hadn't felt in years. Hope, excitement, the flutter of possibility. She had no idea that this feeling would be tested in ways she couldn't yet imagine. The next 3 months were like a dream. Daniel and Maya fell into each other's lives with an ease that felt destined. Their first official date was at a Korean fusion restaurant in Capitol Hill. Okay, so you're telling me you've lived in Seattle for 3 years and never tried Korean barbecue? I mean, I've had bulgogi from the food truck on 5th Avenue. Does that count? That's like saying you've been to France because you ate a croissant at Starbucks. We have so much work to do. Daniel taught her about Korean food, culture, and language. Maya taught him about her world too. Southern cooking, her family's traditions, the music she grew up with, the history that shaped her. Okay, so this is my grandmother's mac and cheese recipe. There's a secret ingredient, but I have to trust you before I tell you what it is. I'm honored. What's the prerequisite for trust? 3 months of dating? 4? Meeting the family. Which, by the way, my sister Sarah wants to FaceTime this weekend. Fair warning. She's going to interrogate you. That weekend, Daniel met Sarah over video call. Maya's sister was protective, direct, and didn't hold back. So Daniel, my baby sister tells me you're a software engineer. Stable job. That's good. You treating her right? I'm trying my best. She's incredible. I feel lucky every day. Okay. I like him, Maya. He seems genuine. But boy, if you hurt my sister, I know people in Seattle. Sarah, oh my God. Stop. After the call, Maya felt hopeful. Her family was supportive. Open. She assumed Daniel's would be the same. So, when do I get to meet your family? You've told me so much about them. Your mom's cooking sounds amazing, and your brother sounds hilarious. But Daniel's face changed. A shadow crossed his features. A hesitation that Maya hadn't seen before. I want you to meet them. I do. It's just complicated. My mom is very traditional. She has certain expectations about who I'll end up with. Expectations? What do you mean? Korean expectations. She's always assumed I date within the community. She's mentioned it since I was a teenager. And she's very involved in my life. Sometimes too involved. Maya felt a chill. She'd heard about this before. Read articles. Heard stories from friends. But she'd hoped, maybe naively, that it wouldn't apply to her relationship. So you're saying your mom might have a problem with me being black? It's not that simple. It's cultural. It's about tradition and family expectations. She's from a different generation, a different world. She sacrificed everything to come to America, to give me opportunities. Her approval means everything to my family. Daniel, I need you to be straight with me. If we're going to do this, I need honesty. Does your mother know about me? Not yet. Hiding her. Their 3-month relationship, all those beautiful moments, had been a secret from the most important person in his life. How long were you planning to keep me a secret? You're not a secret. I need to find the right time, the right way to tell her. She needs to be prepared. Prepared? Daniel, I'm not a natural disaster. I'm your girlfriend. If you're serious about this, about us, then your family needs to know I exist. I am serious. Maya, you're the most important person in my life. That's exactly why I need to handle this carefully. Give me time. Please. Maya wanted to believe him. She could see the genuine conflict in his eyes, the pain of being torn between two worlds. So she agreed to wait, to give him time. She had no idea how much that decision would cost her. 2 more months passed. December arrived with its cold rain and holiday decorations. Maya and Daniel grew even closer, but the shadow of his unspoken secret loomed between them. Then came the company holiday party. The Tech Vista holiday party was at a downtown hotel. Maya wore a stunning emerald green dress. Daniel couldn't take his eyes off her all night. You look absolutely beautiful. You clean up pretty well yourself, Park. They danced. They laughed. For a few hours, Maya forgot about the elephant in the room. Until Daniel's phone rang. It's my mom. I need to take this. He stepped away. Maya watched him through the crowd, saw his body language change. Shoulders tense. Head down. When he came back, his face was pale. What's wrong? Is everything okay? My mom is in the hospital. She fell at home. They think she might have broken her hip. I need to go. I'm sorry. Don't apologize. Go. Do you want me to come with you? Not tonight. This isn't how I wanted you to meet her. Let me go, make sure she's okay, and we'll figure out the right time. Promise. Maya watched him leave, that familiar feeling of being kept separate settling in her chest like ice. But she understood. It was a medical emergency. Family crisis. It wasn't the right time. Except, it was never the right time. The next 3 days, Daniel barely communicated. Short texts. She's okay. Surgery went well. I'll call you soon. Maya gave him space. But on day 4, she decided to do something. She cooked. Her grandmother's chicken soup, mac and cheese, cornbread. Food was love in Maya's family. She packed it all carefully and drove to Swedish Medical Center. She didn't tell Daniel she was coming. She wanted to surprise him, to meet his mother in the most genuine way possible. by showing care during a difficult time. She had no idea she was walking into a nightmare. She got the room number from the front desk. Room 412. She walked down the sterile hallway, heart pounding with nervous excitement. Finally, she would meet the woman who raised the man she loved. But as she approached the door, she heard voices. Korean, spoken rapidly and with emotion. She couldn't understand the words, but she understood tone. Anger. Urgency. Then Daniel's voice. In English, strained and defensive. Mom, please, lower your voice. You just had surgery. Jahoon, tell me. He tell me truth. You dating black girl. Why you lie to me? Why you hide? Maya froze. Her hand on the door handle. Her heart stopped beating. I didn't lie. I was waiting for the right time to tell you. No right time. This wrong. I not accept. You bring shame to family. What people say. What church say. Maya stood in that hallway, holding containers of food she'd made with love, listening to the woman she'd hoped to impress condemn her existence without ever meeting her. Mom, you haven't even met her. Maya is incredible. She's smart, successful, kind. I don't care. She not Korean. Not our people. You need marry Korean girl. Good family. Same culture. I'm not breaking up with her. Then you choose her, you lose family. I never meet this girl. Never accept. You think about what more important. Maya didn't wait to hear more. She set the food containers down silently by the door and walked away. Down the hallway. Into the elevator. Out of the hospital. She got into her car and drove home through blurred vision, tears streaming down her face. She'd known there might be resistance, but she'd never imagined being spoken about like a disease, like something shameful, something that would bring dishonor to a family she'd never even met. Her phone rang. Daniel. She didn't answer. It rang again, and again. She turned it off. The next morning, someone knocked on Maya's door. Persistent knocking. She knew it was Daniel before she opened it. Maya, please, let me explain. Explain what? That your mother called me a shame to your family? That she'd rather lose her son than have him date a black woman? I heard it all, Daniel. I was there, at the hospital, with food I made for her. Oh God. Maya, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You're sorry? Sorry doesn't change what she said. Sorry doesn't change that you hid me for 5 months. I defended you to my sister when she asked if you were ashamed of me. I told her you just needed time. But she was right, wasn't she? You were ashamed. I was never ashamed of you. I was scared. Scared of exactly this happening. Scared of losing you or losing my family or both. Then you should have been honest with me from the start. You should have told me this was a possibility so I could decide if I wanted to put myself through this. Instead, you let me fall in love with you. And now I'm standing here feeling like I'm not good enough because of the color of my skin. You are good enough. You're more than good enough. This isn't about you, Maya. It's about her prejudices, her limited worldview. But it affects me, Daniel. It affects us. And the worst part is, I can't even be angry at just her. I'm angry at you too, because you knew this would be hard, and you weren't brave enough to stand up for us from the beginning. They stood there in her apartment, the space between them feeling like an ocean. Daniel looked broken. Maya felt broken. But she wasn't done yet. I need you to understand something. This isn't the first time I've dealt with racism. I've dealt with it my whole life. At school, at work, walking down the street. I've built armor. But I never thought I'd have to wear that armor with someone I love. In your family. What do you want me to do? Tell me what to do and I'll do it. I want you to choose. I'm not saying choose me over your family. I'm saying choose to stand up for us. Choose to tell your mother that this is happening whether she likes it or not. Choose to stop hiding me like I'm something to be ashamed of. Daniel stood there, torn between two impossible choices. The mother who sacrificed everything for him. The woman he loved who deserved to be chosen. In Korean culture, defying parents isn't just rebellion. It's betrayal. But in American culture, in Maya's culture, allowing this treatment was its own betrayal. Okay, I'll tell her. I'll make it clear that you're not going anywhere. That we're together and she needs to accept it. And if she doesn't, then I don't know. But I won't lose you. Not without fighting. Maya wanted to believe him. But trust, once broken, doesn't repair overnight. I need some time, Daniel. I need to process this. What I heard yesterday. It hurt in a way I can't explain. I need space to figure out if I can do this. If I can be with someone whose family sees me as a problem to solve. How much time? I don't know. A week. Maybe more. I need to think. Daniel left. Maya closed the door and slid down against it, finally allowing herself to fully break down. She'd thought love would be enough. She'd thought if they were strong together, they could handle anything. But she hadn't accounted for the weight of family expectations, cultural differences, and the deep pain of being unwanted for something she couldn't change. That night, she called Sarah. I'm getting on a plane right now. I'm coming to Seattle. No, don't. I just needed to hear your voice. Baby sister, listen to me. You are brilliant, beautiful, and worthy of love that doesn't come with conditions. If his mama can't see that, that's her loss. But Daniel? He needs to decide what kind of man he's going to be. The kind who stands up or the kind who bows down. What if he chooses her? Then he was never yours to begin with. And you'll survive. We Johnsons always do. 1 week later, Maya still hadn't heard from Daniel. She'd asked for space and he'd given it. But the silence was deafening. She went to work, came home, existed in a fog of uncertainty. Then, on day 8, her doorbell rang. It wasn't Daniel. It was his brother, Jehun. Maya, I'm Jehun, Daniel's brother. Can we talk? They sat in a coffee shop near her apartment. Jehun was older, more Americanized, with an easier manner than Daniel. But his face was serious. I need to explain something about our family, our culture. I'm not making excuses, but I think you deserve context. I'm listening. Our parents came to America with nothing. My dad worked 3 jobs. My mom cleaned houses while learning English from TV. They didn't do it for themselves. They did it for us. For Daniel and me. In Korean culture, children are an investment. Not financial, emotional, social. Your success is your parents' success. Your choices are the family's choices. So Daniel isn't allowed to make his own choices? It's not that simple. He's allowed to choose. But every choice comes with weight, with consequences. If he defies our mother, especially on something this important to her, it's not just rebellion. It's like saying everything she sacrificed was worthless. I understand sacrifice. My grandparents marched in the civil rights movement. My parents worked their whole lives to give my sister and me opportunities. I get what it means to honor that. But Jehun, she called me a shame. She said I'd bring dishonor to your family. That's not about culture. That's about race. You're right. And that's the part that's unacceptable. That's the part Daniel and I have been fighting her on all week. You've been fighting for us? I've been fighting for my brother to have the courage to live his own life. And for what it's worth, I met you once, briefly, at the office. You seemed kind. My wife is white. We went through a smaller version of this years ago. It wasn't easy, but eventually Mom adjusted. This is harder for her because of her own prejudices she needs to confront. Maya felt something shift. She wasn't alone in this. Even within Daniel's family, there were allies. Daniel asked me to give you this. He wrote it 3 days ago but was too scared to bring it himself. He thought you might not want to see him yet. Maya took the letter. Heavy paper. Her name written in Daniel's careful handwriting. Read it when you're ready. And Maya, whatever you decide, I hope you know this wasn't about you not being good enough. You were always enough. The question is whether we're enough for you. After Jehun left, Maya sat alone with the letter for an hour before opening it. When she finally did, Daniel's words poured out. Dear Maya, I don't know how to fix this. I don't know if I can fix this. But I need you to know what I've decided. I went to my mother's house 3 days ago. I told her everything. About how we met. About falling in love with you. About how you make me want to be braver than I've ever been. I told her that you're not going anywhere. That if she wants to be part of my life, she needs to accept that you're part of it too. She cried. She said I was choosing a stranger over my family. I told her you're not a stranger. You're my future. She asked me to leave. I did. I haven't spoken to her since. I'm not telling you this to make you feel guilty or to pressure you. I'm telling you because you deserved this from the beginning. You deserved someone who would stand up for you without hesitation. I failed you. I was a coward when you needed me to be brave. I can't change that now. But I can promise you that from this moment forward, I will never hide you again. I will never ask you to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. If you give me another chance, I will spend every day proving that you made the right choice. But if you can't, if this hurt too much, I understand. You deserve someone who chooses you first, every time. I'm sorry I wasn't that person from the start. I love you. Always, Daniel. Maya read the letter 3 times, each word carrying the weight of everything they'd been through. Daniel had done what she'd asked. He'd stood up. But the question remained, was it enough? She thought about her grandmother's advice before she'd passed. Baby girl, love is never just about 2 people. It's about families, histories, futures. But here's the thing. If someone truly loves you, they'll fight through all that noise to hold on to you. Maya picked up her phone. Her hands shook as she dialed. Daniel answered on the first ring. Maya, I read your letter. And I need you to understand something. This won't be easy. Your mother might never accept me. Your community might judge you. There will be moments when you resent me for causing this rift. Are you ready for that? Really ready? I'm ready. I promise you, I'm ready. Then you should come over. We need to talk about how we move forward. Together. 20 minutes later, Daniel was at her door. When she opened it, they didn't speak. He pulled her into his arms, and she let herself be held. For the first time in weeks, Maya felt like she could breathe. The months that followed weren't easy. Daniel's mother didn't call, didn't reach out. The silence from her was its own kind of rejection. But Daniel and Maya built their life anyway. They had dinner with Jehoon and his wife, Christine, who welcomed Maya with open arms. Christine had her own stories of navigating Korean in-laws, and her perspective helped Maya feel less alone. It took Mom Park 3 years to speak to me at family functions. 3 years. But eventually, when Jehoon and I had our daughter, something shifted. I'm not saying you should have kids to win her over. I'm just saying, sometimes people need time to realize what they're losing by holding on to hate. Maya and Daniel created their own traditions. Sunday morning Korean-style breakfast. Friday night soul food dinners. They celebrated both their cultures, wove them together into something uniquely theirs. 6 months after the hospital incident, Daniel's father called him. It was the first contact from his parents since the confrontation. Daniela, your mother, she is a stubborn woman. But she miss you. She asked me call. I miss her too, Dad. But I'm not coming back without Maya. I know. I tell her. She need more time. But I want you know. I am proud of you. You stand for what you believe. That take courage. It wasn't an apology. It wasn't acceptance. But it was something. A crack in the wall. When Maya's parents flew out to visit, they welcomed Daniel like he was already family. Her father took him aside for the talk. Son, I'm not going to pretend I understand everything about Korean culture. But I understand something about love. I understand that my daughter is strong, brilliant, and deserves someone who sees that. You see it, don't you? Every single day, sir. Then you take care of her. And when things get hard, and they will get hard, you remember why you chose each other. That's what my wife and I have done for 42 years. Their first Thanksgiving together, Daniel and Maya hosted a Friendsgiving for people who, like them, were creating chosen families. The apartment was full of laughter, food from different cultures, and the warmth of people who understood what it meant to build something new. Then, almost exactly 1 year after the hospital incident, something changed. Daniel received a text from Jehoon. Mom wants to meet Maya. No promises on how it will go. But she's willing to try. I don't know if I'm ready. You don't have to be ready. We can wait. Or we can say no entirely. This is your choice. No, I've been waiting a year for this. I'm terrified, but I want to try. For us, they met at a Korean restaurant, neutral ground. Jehoon and Christine came too as buffers. When Mrs. Park walked in, Maya stood. They faced each other for the first time. Mrs. Park was smaller than Maya imagined. Older. Her face was stern, but her eyes were tired. She looked at Maya for a long moment, and Maya held her gaze. Neither backing down, neither attacking. "You are Maya." "Yes, ma'am." It's good to finally meet you." They sat. The meal began in painful silence. Jihoon and Christine tried to make conversation. Daniel was tense, ready to defend Maya at any moment. But Maya remained calm, poised. Slowly, Mrs. Park began asking questions. About Maya's work, her family, where she grew up. They were interview questions, not warm conversation. But they were something. "Your parents, what they do." "My father is a retired teacher. He taught high school history for 35 years. My mother is a nurse. She still works at Grady Memorial in Atlanta. Teacher and nurse. Respectable work. Hard work. They sacrificed a lot for my sister and me, like you did for Daniel and Jihoon. I understand how much you gave up to give them opportunities." Something flickered in Mrs. Park's eyes. Recognition, maybe. The acknowledgement that Maya understood sacrifice. "Why you won't be with my son?" "Korean culture very different. You have many challenge." "You're right. It is challenging. There are days when I wonder if it's worth the pain. But then I remember why I fell in love with Daniel. He's kind. He's thoughtful. He makes me laugh. He sees me, really sees me, in a way no one else has. And he stood up for us when it would have been easier to walk away. That's the kind of man I want to build a life with." Mrs. Park looked at her son, saw the way he looked at Maya, the way he leaned toward her protectively, the way his whole face softened when she spoke. "I want Daniel happy, but I also want tradition, family honor, grandchildren who look like him. Mrs. Park, I can't change who I am, and I won't apologize for it. But I can promise you this. I love your son. I will honor the sacrifices you made by taking care of him, by supporting his dreams, by building a life with him that respects both our cultures. Your grandchildren, if we have them, will be beautiful. They'll be Korean. They'll be black. They'll be both. And they'll be raised to be proud of all of who they are." Mrs. Park didn't respond immediately. She ate quietly. The meal continued in tense silence. As they prepared to leave, she spoke again. "You come to house next month for Korean New Year. You learn make taekguk. Daniel favorite." It wasn't an apology. It wasn't even acceptance, really, but it was an invitation. A door opened just a crack. "I would be honored." 2 years later, Maya stood in Mrs. Park's kitchen, learning to make kimchi. Their relationship wasn't perfect. There were still awkward moments, still cultural misunderstandings, still times when Mrs. Park's traditional views clashed with Maya's independence. No, like this, more pressure. You must really work the seasoning in." "I'm trying. This is harder than it looks. Everything worthwhile is hard." But there was also progress. Slowly, Mrs. Park began to see Maya not as a threat to her family, but as part of it. She'd never said the words, "I'm sorry." She probably never would. But she showed up. She tried. And in Korean culture, showing up is its own form of love. At family dinners now, Maya sat at the table. Not as a guest, not as an outsider, but as Daniel's partner, Jihoon's sister-in-law, Mrs. Park's. Well, they were working on that part. That night, after leaving his parents' house, Daniel and Maya sat on their couch, exhausted but content. "I never thanked you." "For what?" "For not giving up. For fighting for us when it would have been easier to walk away. For teaching me what real courage looks like." "You're right. It is challenging. There are days when I wonder if it's worth the pain. But then I remember why I fell in love with Daniel. He's kind. He's thoughtful. He makes me laugh. He sees me, really sees me, in a way no one else has. And he stood up for us when it would have been easier to walk away. That's the kind of man I want to build a life with." Mrs. Park looked at her son, saw the way he looked at Maya, the way he leaned toward her protectively, the way his whole face softened when she spoke. "I want Daniel happy, but I also want tradition, family honor, grandchildren who look like him. Mrs. Park, I can't change who I am, and I won't apologize for it. But I can promise you this. I love your son. I will honor the sacrifices you made by taking care of him, by supporting his dreams, by building a life with him that respects both our cultures. Your grandchildren, if we have them, will be beautiful. They'll be Korean. They'll be Black. They'll be both. And they'll be raised to be proud of all of who they are. Mrs. Park didn't respond immediately. She ate quietly. The meal continued in tense silence. As they prepared to leave, she spoke again. You come to house. Next month. For Korean New Year. You learn make taekguk. Daniel favorite. It wasn't an apology. It wasn't even acceptance, really. But it was an invitation. A door opened just a crack. I would be honored. 2 years later, Maya stood in Mrs. Park's kitchen, learning to make kimchi. Their relationship wasn't perfect. There were still awkward moments. Still cultural misunderstandings. Still times when Mrs. Park's traditional views clashed with Maya's independence. No, like this. More pressure. You must really work the seasoning in. I'm trying. This is harder than it looks. Everything worthwhile is hard. But there was also progress. Slowly, Mrs. Park began to see Maya not as a threat to her family, but as part of it. She'd never said the words, I'm sorry. She probably never would. But she showed up. She tried. And in Korean culture, showing up is its own form of love. At family dinners now, Maya sat at the table. Not as a guest. Not as an outsider. But as Daniel's partner. Jahoon's sister-in-law. Mrs. Park's. Well, they were working on that part. That night, after leaving his parents' house, Daniel and Maya sat on their couch, exhausted but content. I never thanked you. For what? For not giving up. For fighting for us when it would have been easier to walk away. For teaching me what real courage looks like.